was definitely something that's going to be changing the NBA. Like, I think that it's not talked about enough, and it probably will soon. I'm just going to say it before everyone says it because, it's IQ. That's what I do. You feel me? But for the most part, man, like, I see that the pace of play for a lot of these teams are going to be way faster than it's ever been. And the reason behind that is obviously that, like, the transition take foul. That 15-0 run used to be like, okay, it's going to be over. Like, you'll see, like, they're in a drought for the last 3, 5, 4, 5 minutes, 15-0 run. Like, stuff like that, where now it's kind of like, okay, you know what? I could see, I've been seeing even in preseason, literally like a 8-0 run in like not even like 45 seconds. What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building. You feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks. All right, let's get straight right into it. So you already know. Obviously, over the past, couple of days, you just been seeing just a lot of craziness in terms of the NBA, in terms of just like it's unconventional what we're seeing. And this is what I want to talk about first before I get to anything else that I'm going to talk about. Just a lot of like, I'm annoyed at myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm frustrated. God damn. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a mad, yo. Like, I'm mad. I'm cheesed. I'm hella bent, yo. Like, honestly, like over I think when the first season when the regular season just first started, I had a video in the archives, as you could see. Obviously, you seen that right there, right? That little clip that I just put. That was a video that didn't come out, that I obviously talked about, like maybe when, like I said, when the season was just about to start, and I foreseen this, right? I put a lot, like I kind of called this from time. I'm just mad that like y'all don't know that I did it, because I just gotta trust my instincts. I didn't post it because it was a hectic weekend, whatever, and stuff like that. I didn't publish it on YouTube, but I was talking from time about the transition take foul. You're gonna see some historic scoring, or it's just gonna be an historic change in terms of just the rule book, because you're gonna see results feed into that. And what the reason why I said that, when I was waiting, I kind of anticipated, but I'm like, maybe mans will kind of adjust to it and stuff like that, and you're gonna start seeing more adjustments, because the transition take foul is not exactly a transition take if you foul, but you at least go for the ball. But that gamble is still put in the ref's hands. It's like, am I really gonna give up a free throw and the ball back just to stop transition? You know what I mean? Like, and you're seeing, and I seen this in preseason, a lot of just transition buckets, a lot of just transition, like Manzo, even from a miss, normally from a miss or a turnover, especially, you'll see like great defense turn into a rewarding bucket right away. Even a bad miss turn into a rewarding bucket right away, because and now Mans are getting exposed in transition defense, right? The counter to transition defense hasn't been elite transition defense. There's been a transition, pun intended, in NBA where it's like, the speed and the pace of play has obviously increased with the shooting, and now not only has pace of play always been a thing in the NBA, but before, at least it was twos. Like, you'll see the teams with alley-oops, like Lob City, you'll see them, their pace increase, but they had to get stops, or off misses, they'll go get dunks. But then, since Golden State, and even before that, a little bit before that, around that time, you started seeing, instead of transition just layups, you're getting transition threes, dunk buckets, transition threes. Like, that's going to be the most open shots off offensive rebounds and transition threes. And you're starting to see like the pace of play increase when you get an offensive rebound. Before, you get punished by like a foul or like a up and under or a putback layup, whatever. Now it's kick out to three, which is why rebounding became so, especially offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding, became such a big thing in this NBA, because it's leading to threes. Now the same shift was happening with transition. It's leading to threes. Mans are running to the corner three in transition. Mans are getting threes in transition, and all of a sudden, in literally like 3 possessions, you get 9 points. But it's like the pace of those 3 possessions, like the team comes down, you force they miss early in the shot clock. You come down, 3, miss, or steal, 3, come down early, miss, 3, timeout. You see that happen all the time since Golden State. Like, it's happening so often now with just even the worst team in the NBA and the best team in the NBA. It's just such a normal thing to see a quick 9 points, right? So now that already was happening. Now imagine now when you get turnovers before, man's like you just foul him, whatever. You'll see a lot of transition takes foul in a game that people just don't pay attention to. It's in the flow of the game. But now what I was seeing in preseason, we're starting to see a lot of like, I can't foul. So instincts, I can't foul. So now every bad miss, every turnover is guaranteed bucket. And it's not just a guaranteed bucket from back then. It's a guaranteed bucket from this era where it's threes, dunks. Like it's just the pace of play is high, which is now you're seeing Mans averaging 120 points per game. The highest average in NBA history right now with how many games that's been played so far in the regular season is 115. That's the middle ground. That's the average. 115 points per game. That's reckless. And it's not obviously like the pace of play is not like super, super fast because of the transition take foul, but you get moments in the game, momentum points in the game where like the speed of play and the pace of play is just reckless because you can't foul. Like you're going up and like there's more possessions now and just the buckets and the rewarding buckets that you're getting, the results is way higher. And I kind of anticipated this from time, but again, like you seen, I didn't post it. Obviously, that's your first time seeing that. So I'm mad at myself. You know what I'm saying? For not trusting my instincts and just posting that even within the hectic, schedule or whatever that happened that weekend. But for the most part, like, again, I would have been the first to call that out. Now you're starting to see people kind of get onto old transition take, like, dog, we're seeing the result, but I knew this from time. Now you're going to start maybe seeing mans go for the ball and give that foul, but now the refs are going to be put in a discretion battle. Which one is this for the ball? Was this not for the ball? You're going to start seeing that. Or maybe people don't even take that risk, and for a whole season, you start seeing, it's just, this is what it is. But, like, this is why you're seeing a result of, like, obviously we know the Nets are playing bad, right? We know the Nets are playing bad. We know some teams are playing bad. Lakers are playing bad. But it's not just them. You're seeing good teams. Like, look at this. You're seeing struggles from the Chicago Bulls, 3-4. Philadelphia 76ers 3-4, Miami Heat 2-5, Brooklyn Nets 1-5. You're seeing, Denver Nuggets 4-3, but whatever. But you're seeing the Clippers 2-4, Lakers 1-5, Golden State 3-4, Mavericks 3-3. Like you're seeing teams that normally start out the season, even though they might be slow or whatever, they shouldn't be having the records they have. And you're seeing teams that are like bottom teams. Portland, well, that people thought would be bottom. I never thought Portland would be bottom, but they're 5-1. We didn't think 5-1. You know what I'm saying? Utah, 5-2. You know what I'm saying? Spurs, 5-2. Like you're seeing some teams like, Atlanta 4-2. Well, we only put them in the conversation. New York 3-3, right? Wizards 3-3, Hornets 3-3. Like you're seeing some teams where you're like, God damn it, this is the result of it. The transition take foul, for the most part, it's a hybrid. Now, you can't get the transition take foul is a chain reaction. It's the beginning point, right? The beginning point is when mans make turnovers, when mans fumble the rock, or like just a bad shot, long rebound, etc. Like before, you could kind of stop that break. You'll see a lot of it. If you actually go back and watch, transition take fouls happen a lot, which is why the league had to do something about it. It wasn't just situational or they would have been left it, but it started becoming more and more because when you have more pace of play, the transition take foul was less back then when mans weren't as quick running up and down the court. But now that they are, now you're literally seeing mans do it often. Like if a man had 4 fouls, at least 1 or 2 of those fouls have been transition take. You're starting to see at least every man on the roster give a transition take foul. Everybody who played. You're starting to see here and there. Like this, and they get strategic where, okay, I'll give up. And you'll see it sometimes happen. Even sometimes like Giannis will be in foul trouble. One of them have been transition takes. Like you're seeing a lot of it. And it's often, right? At least 10 possessions per game is transition take guaranteed, right? From each team even. Or at least 8 to 10 at least. That's a lot, right? And that's just me just kind of just thinking. So now the league had to do something about it. So now when you're not seeing that, and now fouls that mans might actually give, they're even more reluctant because they don't want to give that free throw and ball, right? Where now you could get 4 points in that possession. That's OD as opposed to like just giving up the 2 or at least trying to play good transition defense. A lot of teams didn't really ever have good transition defense. They just did the take foul and just force you to half court. A lot of teams never, like, that's more energy, that's more speed. It's just more effort. It's not like you have to be a lead at transition defense is just effort. It's not like any skill or anything because it's more so just hustling to get back and stopping the transition. That's all it is, right? It's not like it's a skill. Like you'll see obviously a guy on the break do guard 2 and 1 and be elite, but if you had to rely on that all the time, you're going to get scored on. More so, teams that have great transition defense, like you're seeing Phoenix Suns, teams like that, the Milwaukee Bucks, they just run back, yo. They just run back, and then you might get a chase down because you're running back, right? Giannis run back. Your big men are running back. That's the main thing. If the big men don't run back, you see AD not running back. You see the Nets don't run back. You see Bear teams don't run back. Majority of the teams don't run back. Even the Golden State Warriors aren't running back as much, and you're seeing this is why the losses are happening. This is why the scoring is happening on great defensive teams that used to be. They're not as great defensively anymore because of the transition take. And now you're having every team is the pace of play. Like Indiana's scoring this number 2 in the league, like in scoring, like whatever that is, right? Like, come on now, what is that? 118.9. Memphis 120. Golden State 118. But they're also allowing, Golden State is scoring the third best in the league, but they're also allowing, how much are they allowing? They're allowing, let's see. They're allowing 122. They're at a negative 3.3 win scoring differential. You know what I'm saying? Like the Golden State Warriors allowing 122 points per game, fam. So it's not just the Nets. You know what I'm saying? The Nets are allowing 122. Like people are just focusing on the Nets, but the Nets haven't been scoring at the same pace of Golden State. That's the reason why they're 1-5. But if they scored a bit more, you know what I'm saying? In terms of like Ben Simmons on transition, whatever the case is, they'll be maybe 4-5, 3-5, whatever the case is. But for the most part, that's why it's defense. People just want to focus defense with the Nets. There's a lot of these teams aren't having great defense, and a lot of it is the pace of playing moments that they can get away with being lazy, because this is what happens. When you get into a game with a team way lower than you that you're supposed to beat, there's going to be moments in the game, momentum points in the game where you can kind of you're going to not play the most elite defense. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be like, okay, just take foul. We made a turnover, whatever. Wow, we got to get better on offense. And then you just lock up on half court. But if you're not locking up as much as half court, but you're not even in the half court that amount of possessions because it's all transition. Remember, fast break and transition are different. Fast break is literally like turnover street 2-on-1, whatever. Transition is just a delayed fast break. That's what transition is. So transition happens a lot in a game. I'll say at least 50% of the plays in basketball is transition. Half of it is half court, half of it is transition, because you're going to miss. If you're shooting 50% from the field, half of those are misses. When you miss those ones, or at least let's say 40 to 50%. If you miss some of those, okay, we bring it up slow. But now with the NBA, where you have the center that could rebound or the power forward that could rebound, can also dribble it up, everything is like, every time you miss and it's not a bucket, best believe it's transition. So I would say 50% of the time is transition if you're just using, just based off of eye test IQ. You know what I'm saying? Like half of the possessions are transition. If you have bad transition defense and now you can't cancel that half to like 25% by fouling half the times, and it's up tempo every time now, it's going to lead to buckets. And this is why you're seeing a lot of teams that would be, great teams to start the season that we expected or should be. They're not doing so great. And you're seeing other younger teams, especially that would be bottom of the tier, doing really good because they have no fear. They have effort. They're just athletic, have effort. They're trying so hard that like, the older teams that's kind of picking their spots when to do whatever. You can't pick spots when there's no transition take. You can't rest. You can't dog. It's like that all the time. So like that's why you're no coincidence. Portland, who's way more, they got way more younger. No coincidence, they're 5-1. Cleveland, who got way more younger. No coincidence, they're 5-1. Celtics 4-2, whatever. Atlanta got younger 4-2. New York, they're young 3-3. They're, you know what I mean? Like it's literally like the teams that apply that effort that are younger and they're just applying effort the whole time. They're getting back more in transition, but forget that. We're scoring. We're killing you in transition. You're not running as the same way. You're not getting subs. So you're in half court more than us, actually. So now you're just scoring less than us. Teams aren't really locking up like that. The only teams I'm seeing locking up, for the most part, even if you look at the point differential, the Bucks, obviously, they're scoring 113 per game and only averaging 103 is what Mans is scoring. Cavaliers, I've been watching them actually pad. Like LeVert has been getting in, fighting over screens. Like I'm seeing great defensive continuity. 117 they're averaging, and they're only letting up 105. 12 differential. Phoenix, you're seeing great defense as well too. 118 they're scoring, 106. But even Portland, 115 allowing 110. They're playing great defense, but you know what I mean? They're not great defensive like those guys, but they're playing great defense. But they're pushing. Like Josh Hart's pushing in transition. Like you're seeing a lot of that. Like look at Utah. They're scoring 117 but allowing 115. Their differential is not that high, but they're winning games because I'm telling you, the take is transitioning, pun intended, into a lot of these younger teams. They're just younger teams. They're eating. San Antonio, same thing, 118. They actually have a negative. Look at it. San Antonio actually is averaging 118 per game, and they're allowing 118.6, so 119 per game, and they actually are 5-2. They actually have more wins, even with a negative differential. You rarely see that. So this is just showing you the pace of play. Like this is what you're seeing. Like, look at Memphis Grizzlies. They're averaging 120, but they're allowing 121.5. People want to talk about Nets defense, but look at these teams, yo. I'm mentioning in the 120s. This is other elite teams as well, too, that you would consider. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you look at it from that perspective, this is why you're seeing, like, it's like if you were to just to take the playoff picture from now. Obviously, it's early in the season. What is it? 9 games, 10 games, 8 games, whatever the case is. It's very early. Not even, some of them not even. Some people are at 7, 6, whatever. 7 to 9 games. Not even. 7 to 8, right? 7 to 8, 6, whatever. You're seeing, if you were to look at the playoff picture right now, like, you're seeing, like, it will be unconventional. You know what I'm saying? And there's a reason for that. The transition take foul is I knew it was going to be a historic change. Like, out of all the changes that happened in the NBA, this was the one that would drastically change the output of results right away, like this. And I foreseen that, and I wanted to tell people that from time, but now I'm reacting like a lot of y'all. I'm still early to it, but I'm reacting like a lot of y'all. But just know that Banks knew this from time. You know what I'm saying? I knew this from time. I just seen it when I saw what I saw in preseason. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be epic in terms of like what you're gonna see. You're going to, like, and this is what's happening. Like, a lot of these older teams, they're not hella old. The Nets, Golden State, the teams I mean, like, they're just more seasoned veteran teams. They're not used to, like, damn, I missed a shot and it's a bucket like that. Like, I know it's been like that kind of, but not like this. Like, now it's like any turnover you make, it's guaranteed bucket. Like, it's guaranteed because you can't foul. Or teams are operating with, I can't foul. Right? And it's still like you can't foul. If you want to foul, you have to be strategic. You have to be like finesse. You have to finesse it. You're going to start maybe seeing teams being smarter with it and avoid the take because all you ought to do is make a play for the ball. But now if you made a play for the ball, but the guy did something nice and you didn't hit the ball, now you hit the chest, it looks like a take. So that's where it's like, you're seeing still 50-50. It's still like, dog, I'm not even going to just don't reach. The same thing, like I could foul at 3 and it's like, damn, a man could go like sweep through. You know what? Just don't do it. Just play discipline. So now it's just don't make the turnover. Now that's what you're seeing teams start to do and start to, like, that's how they operate, right? So it's kind of like you're seeing any turnover, guaranteed bucket. Misses are starting to become more guaranteed bucket. A long miss guaranteed, like, transition. Like, so, like, this is why the pace of play is like what it is. So, like, this is literally the result for a lot of fucker you see. Even, like I said, the Clippers, like, just a lot of these teams are, like, adjusting to this. And a lot of it is they're not fully in continuity on offense, so you're seeing the mistakes for getting rhythm, like lackadaisical at times, and it's just the other team that's athletic and young. They want to beat you one, which they always did, even in all eras. But now it's like we're younger, we're athletic. Young athletic actually is a better trend if you're starting to see even in the NBA because everyone could shoot the skill. Now you're seeing transition, like the skill's just potent in every team. Like that's why there's no team that you face in the NBA right now where it's a scheduled, I'm gonna beat you. No. Golden State could face the Hornets and they could lose. The Nets could face the Indiana and they could lose. Like the King, like it don't matter, yo. The Rockets could beat. There's the Spurs. Like there's no guaranteed where okay we beat these guys. There's no such thing anymore as especially right now where you look on someone's roster, you look on their teams they face. Oh, they only played bum teams. That's why they 5-1. No, don't do that because your team that you're rooting for lost to that same bum team. There's not. Every team is beatable. Every team is basically elite right now. Look at the scoring. Like, look what's happening. Y'all pay attention, yo. We don't know if this will continue. That's the next conversation is how long will this stay like this? Forget the losing. Just like the pace of play, like, is the other teams they're going to adjust to it? The other, the Nets, are they going to adjust to this? That's what we're waiting to now see. How long is what's happening here just a moment, or is this for the foreseeable future? And that's what we're going to see. It doesn't mean, I'm not talking about in terms of the standings. I'm just talking about in what's happening in the play. Now, is it going to be like the standings could switch? Obviously, like Golden State start winning, even the Nets, whoever, starts winning and people drop. It's just more so, how did they win though? Are they just, they're being more fast with their pace? They're also getting back in transition. They're just adjusting. Okay. But it still means the take is the take. It's still the results. It's just these teams are just acclimating to it. And that's the difference. That's what we're waiting to see. Or is it going to be like, this is going to be a rude awakening year for a lot of these teams that we're going to, you know what I mean? this is what the next answer is to this question. So we'll see what the result is going to be. But for the most part, the take is just changing some things that like maybe some people didn't really foresee, especially as fans. And I seen this. The IQ one's kind of new. You could just watch preseason, you could see it. Like it was drastic. If you get 3-4 stops, like that's a 12-point game easy because you're scoring guaranteed. Like your stops are guaranteed scores now. That's what it's coming to. So we'll see how this transitions, pun intended. You know what I'm saying? So let's go on to the next one, yo.